The narrative begins with the following scene. A man named Gary is seen running through a subway station, trying to leave the place in a hurry. He reaches a locked door and forces it open. Once inside, he heads to a window, only to discover that it is blocked with bricks. Suddenly, all the lockers in the room fly open, revealing their mirrors. He then walks to the large mirror in the room and states that he was not trying to escape. The mirror begins to crack, and he tries to wipe it clean, but ends up breaking off a fragment. He says he is sorry and bends down to pick up the piece. However, his reflected image remains still. The man looks at the shard in his hand, and the reflection in the mirror uses it to kill him. The scene then shifts to Ben, who wakes up on another ordinary day. Next, in the bathroom, Ben watches his own reflection in the mirror and ingests a crushed pill dissolved in water. He says goodbye to his sister Angela, assuring her that everything will be fine. Moments later, he heads to an abandoned property, where the security guard Lorenzo allows him inside. Both walk toward the burned building, and Lorenzo explains that he was working there when the fire destroyed the structure. He says that even after 5 years, the owners are still in a legal dispute with the insurance company. Before becoming a store, the place functioned as a hospital, which closed in the 50s. The company requires security to patrol the space every 2 hours, although normally everything remains quiet. Lorenzo comments that the cosmetics section gives him chills at night because there is no electricity and there are too many mirrors. Ben asks who used to clean the mirrors, and the guard replies that it was the man he is replacing, Gary, who spent the nights cleaning them. During the visit, Lorenzo asks why Ben left the police force, but he avoids answering. Finally, he shows him the security trailer. Meanwhile, the mirrors in the building seem to come alive. Later, Amy returns home and asks the housekeeper Rosa about the children. Rosa informs her that they are upstairs with Ben. Amy goes up and finds them playing and talking. She asks to speak with him, and both go to the bedroom, immediately starting an argument. He states that he has been sober for 3 months and that he got a job until he is reinstated into the force. Amy does not believe he can change, but he replies that she was not by his side when he killed someone in the line of duty. She becomes irritated, stating that she was always the only one who believed in him. While their son listens to the argument, he apologizes, but the couple continues fighting. He kisses her, showing that feelings still exist between them, although she pulls away and declares that she cannot continue like this anymore. That night, Ben is on duty, still adapting to the environment. He finds a bottle of whiskey in the locker, but leaves it where it is. The alarm goes off, and he begins patrolling inside the building. The burned store looks like a materialized nightmare. Ben reaches the cosmetics section, sees his reflection in one of the mirrors, and wipes the dirt from his uniform. Before leaving, he notices a handprint on the glass. He turns the light back on and tries to erase it, but the print seems to be stuck on the inside. The entire mirror displays handprints stretching all the way up. A door opens in the reflection, although in reality, it remains closed. Even so, Ben decides to check the real door, keeping his eyes on the mirror. The door leads to a steep staircase that takes him to a flooded basement. He turns on the lights, and the reflected door slams violently. The next day, Ben is at home taking another pill when Angela appears and asks him to stop with that. She shows concern, and he replies that although he does not like the job, he needs it to support Amy and the children. He does not want to keep sleeping on his sister's couch. Angela suggests he look for daytime work. Ben looks at the mirror again and has the impression that his face is melting. Angela returns, and he asks her to leave him alone. When he looks again, everything seems normal. Ben begins to believe he is losing his mind. Later, during another patrol, he sees burned mannequins and walls filled with mirrors when he imagines someone behind him. He stares into another mirror and places his palm over the mark, at which moment the glass shatters and cuts him. When he looks again, the mirror is intact. Suddenly, a woman in flames appears behind him and disappears when he turns around. He looks at the reflection again and sees burning people, but nothing exists in the real environment. A fire starts and Ben is engulfed in flames. However, in reality, he remains unharmed. He regains control upon realizing that everything is normal and finds Gary's wallet lying on the floor. Ben returns to the trailer and searches through Gary's locker. Then he cleans the wound and applies a bandage. Ben examines Gary's wallet and finds a note with the word Essaker written on it. He returns to the building and goes up to the second floor, heading to the cosmetics department. Upon arrival, he carefully observes the walls and suddenly hears a woman screaming in pain. He identifies the origin of the sound and runs toward it. He enters a room searching for the woman, looks through every corner, but finds no one. Suddenly, he hears the scream again and sees his reflection in the mirror, yet does not see the woman in the real environment. When he pulls back the fitting room curtain, no one is there. He then drags the mirror closer, positions it in front of the room, shines a light on it, and sees the woman again. The woman in flames only appears in the reflection. Meanwhile, at home, his son Michael wakes up screaming. When Amy goes to calm him, he says there is a woman screaming in the mirror. Amy says it was only a nightmare and leaves the room, leaving the door open. She lies down, and when she turns off the television, the woman appears on the screen and again in Michael's mirror. Later, Ben is at the bar where Angela works and tells her what happened. Angela believes everything is a result of the stress he has been facing. Ben continues talking about mirrors and how they are everywhere. He feels that the reflection watches him back. Angela advises him to seek professional help and insists that he rest. Later, Ben is sleeping when someone knocks at the door. He receives a package belonging to Gary. Inside there are reports about the fire at the store and an article about the man who confessed to setting it. Ben arrives at work as Lorenzo is leaving and tries to talk to him about what he has been seeing. Lorenzo informs him that the police were there and reported Gary's death, but did not reveal how it happened. He also says they will send someone to fix the leak in the basement. Amy is at work assisting in an autopsy when she is called to the lobby to meet Ben. He asks her to show him Gary's body because he needs to know how he died. Ben tells her everything that has been happening and manages to convince her to help him. They enter the cold chamber and the pathologist informs them that Gary killed himself, although the police are still investigating. The doctor explains that he used a piece of mirror to commit the act. Ben looks at the body and sees it move abruptly. He also asks for the case file and persuades Amy to assist him. He analyzes the crime scene photos and shows Amy an image in which the weapon appears in the reflection with blood, while the real weapon has no traces. Ben begins to suspect that the mirrors show something different from reality, influencing people to do what they do not want. Amy asks him not to talk that way if he wants to return to the force. He says he is seeing things and feeling what they show him. Amy asks what medication he takes to stop drinking. Ben shows her the medicine, and she warns that it has many side effects. He apologizes for bothering her and thanks her for trying to help him. Later, Angela prepares to take a bath. She removes her robe and walks to the bathtub while her reflection remains in the mirror. As she enters the water, the reflection begins to tear her face in half, causing the same effect in reality. Angela dies in the bathtub. The police arrive to investigate. A detective enters the bathroom, drains the tub, reveals her face, and observes the injuries. Ben arrives at the apartment, and the officers try to stop him from entering. The detective comes out and holds him when he tries to break free. Upon seeing the body, Ben vomits in the sink. At the morgue, he cries over his sister's body while Amy talks to Larry and states that Ben would never hurt Angela. Larry says that his version largely matches, but that a colleague informed the police that Ben intended to leave the job. He states that they will release him for lack of evidence. Amy offers that he stay with her and the children, but Ben does not want to put them at risk. He believes the mirror attacked Angela, but Amy misunderstands and suggests that he tell Larry everything. Ben thinks no one will believe what he imagines happened. That night, he returns to the store and tries to break the largest mirror. Unsuccessful, he grabs the gun and shoots, causing damage, but the mirror reforms. He keeps striking it until he falls beside it, desperate, asking what the mirror wants from him. The glass writes the word Essaker. Afterwards, Ben asks Larry to research the name because he found nothing online. He investigates the store and the fire, but cannot connect the facts. The man who set the fire insisted that the mirrors were to blame. Larry calls and informs that he found nothing about Essaker. Then Ben asks him to research the arsonist's name, Terrence Barry. Larry says he is dead, but provides the name of the asylum where he was committed. Ben visits the place and talks to the doctor, who explains that the patient believed in the existence of two distinct realities. The doctor shows the recorded interviews with Barry. During one of them, Barry declares that the mirror killed his family because he did not find Essaker. Ben fears for the safety of Amy and the children, so he goes to the house and removes all the mirrors, frightening Rosa and the children. When he cannot remove the mirror from his daughter's room, he decides to paint over it. Amy arrives after being called by Rosa and becomes furious when she sees the situation. She demands that he leave. Ben replies that he will leave after covering the mirror. Amy does not understand what is happening. She says that Michael is acting strange because of him. Ben takes her outside and tries to show the phenomenon, but when he shoots the mirror, it does not regenerate. The children watch from the window, frightened. Amy begs him to put the gun away and come inside, but he leaves in his car. During the drive, he cannot calm down and almost has an accident when he sees Angela in the rearview mirror. He swerves and destroys the car mirror. Ben returns to the store and walks through the basement, searching for answers. He finds an old sign from the psychiatric ward of the hospital that used to operate there and discovers the point where the water floods the basement. He opens a hole in the wall and enters a room containing a strange apparatus with a chair in the center. He enters the structure, examines the straps, and realizes he is surrounded by mirrors. He keeps staring at the reflection until he shoots at it. Later, he calls Larry again and asks him to search for records of patients and staff from the hospital. He requests that he look for someone named Essaker. Before ending the call, Larry asks him to be careful. They meet that night, and Larry delivers the medical records he found about Anna Essaker. The files were in the evidence storage because they belonged to an old unsolved case. The girl was only 12 years old when she was admitted. She died along with other patients who killed themselves on the same night. The hospital was closed after that. The doctor in charge was arrested, but killed himself with a piece of mirror from his own cell the following day. Ben returns home and begins analyzing Essaker's files. He notices that her image appears blurred in all the hospital photographs. Anna had been admitted with a diagnosis of schizophrenia, presenting delusional and aggressive behavior. The only photo in which she is not blurred is from the year before her death. As he continues reading, he finds another document stating that she was discharged 2 days before the massacre. Suddenly, he hears cracking sounds coming from behind the television. He removes the cover and shows the reflection Anna's photograph. Ben then understands that Anna is still alive. Meanwhile, his daughter brushes her teeth in front of a mirror that Amy brought back home. Michael talks to someone in the bedroom, sitting in front of the mirror. He stands up, but Amy notices that the boy's reflection remains in the glass. When the child leaves, she approaches and sees the reflection smile at her. Amy immediately calls Ben and asks him to return home because she is terrified by what she witnessed. Now she believes him. The two begin covering all reflective surfaces in the house, from mirrors to windows and televisions. When they finish, Ben says goodbye to the children and then to Amy, who regrets not having trusted him before. Ben travels to Pennsylvania in search of Anna. He drives along a dirt road and sees her name on the mailbox. Upon arriving at the house, he recognizes her from the photograph. He knocks on the door and, receiving no answer, approaches the window when a dog startles him. A boy comes out asking what he wants, and Ben replies that he is looking for Anna Essaker. The boy calls his mother, who comes out of the house questioning the reason for the search. Ben lies, saying he is writing a paper about schizophrenia. She tells the boy to inform the grandfather that someone is asking about his sister. The elderly man leads Ben to the basement where they used to keep her, because her episodes were too violent. He reports that they called priests, healers, and doctors from all over the county, but no one could help her. Ben observes the state of the place, while the brother explains that Dr. Martin was the only one who responded to their pleas for help. He did not believe in demonic possession and thought he could cure her. When Ben asks where she went after the hospital, the man believes she died there. Ben states that he knows she was discharged earlier and discovers that she stayed with the family for some time. She left because strange events began to occur with the mirrors in the house when she was apparently cured. When he asks where he can find her, The brother replies that she was sent to a monastery where mirrors are forbidden, so that they could not reach her. Ben arrives at the monastery and asks to speak with Anna. He explains that he went there because the hospital mirrors seem desperate to find her. He begs for help to save his family. Anna states that mirrors function as windows to the human world. What wants to find her is that which remains imprisoned within them. Dr. Martin's therapy consisted of keeping patients in a room full of mirrors for days, believing he could cure them of schizophrenia. However, he was wrong. Anna was not cured. The demon that inhabited her passed into the mirrors and since then collects the souls of those it killed. She believes that if she returns, she can be used as a vessel to allow it to cross into the real world. Ben tries to convince her, but she resists. He speaks about the victims and shows a photo of his family so that she understands whom he is trying to save. Meanwhile, Michael's reflection opens the bedroom door where Amy and her son are. Ben calls Amy to tell her what he discovered, but she realizes that Michael is no longer by her side. When she looks through the doorway, she sees the house flooded. Ben warns her to be careful with the reflections in the water. She notices that the mirrors have also been scraped. He asks her to find Michael and stay away from the water and the mirrors. Something moves behind her and Amy drops the phone. Ben invades Anna's room and threatens her to make her go with him. At the same time, Amy shuts off the house pipes and upon reaching the bathroom, sees Michael reflected in the mirror. Suddenly, she is pushed into the water and begins to drown. The daughter hears her mother's voice calling and enters the room. Upon entering, she sees her mother in the reflection behind her. The reflection grabs her and begins to hurt her until the real Amy appears and pulls her daughter away from the mirror. The reflection reacts furiously for having escaped. Amy hides the girl in the closet and orders her not to come out under any circumstance. The water continues flooding the house, and Amy goes downstairs to look for Michael. She finds him scraping the paint off the mirror with a knife. Michael says not to be afraid because he just wants to play. He runs with the knife and Amy follows him. She sees his reflection under a chair, believing he is hiding. The reflection cuts her and flees. Meanwhile, Ben takes Anna back to the building. As soon as they enter, images appear in the mirrors around them. They go down to the basement and Ben leads her to the chair because she keeps her eyes closed. Anna asks him to tie her up, stating that there is no other way to save the family. At the house, Amy finds Michael sitting in the water. As she approaches, his reflection stares at her and pulls him under. Amy tries to rescue him, but he drowns. Anna asks Ben to leave her there and begins to pray while the demon forces its way through the mirror. She opens her eyes, and all the mirrors in the building explode, killing her in the process. Michael is released from the water, and Amy revives him until he expels the liquid. The mirrors in the building are completely destroyed. Ben enters the mirror room, but does not find Anna. He hears something crawling along the walls, and the demon appears possessing her body. Ben shoots, but the creature continues dodging. It attacks him, throwing him out of the room and dragging him through the basement. Ben fights and manages to push it against a gas pipe. He fires, causing a fiery explosion. The building begins to collapse while he tries to escape. The demon attacks him again, but he pushes it, and the creature becomes trapped under the rubble. Ben is also buried, but manages to free himself and goes outside, where a police car is parked. Police officers and firefighters pass by him without noticing him. He approaches Lorenzo and realizes that the badge is reversed. The inscriptions on the patrol cars also appear reversed. He looks at the wound on his hand and notices that it is on the opposite side. Ben walks away, but cannot see his reflection. He places the palm of his hand against a mirror and the mark appears on the other side, implying that he is now trapped in the other dimension and probably died in the real world.